table, and chieftain is just a fancy way of saying the king of the castle, but this chieftain's table was brought over from Norway and it's from the 17th century. We also have our three-legged Finnish peasant's chair here front and center, and of course it was brought over from Finland, and it's also from that same time period of the 16th or 17th century. We also have our beautiful 1929 Steinway piano. And in the back of the room, behind the partition, there's a closed door. It's a little hard to see right now. But behind that closed door is where the library is located. And the library is in that tower or turret that's getting restored this year, so that's why the door is closed. But we do have a picture of the library. We can take turns looking at it. It's right behind the piano there. And honestly, that picture of the library gives you a much better view of everything in there than what we could see standing back here. So in that picture of the library, you'll notice there's this beautiful rug, this white rug that goes the full circumference of the library floor. That is a cashmere rug that Laura had made specifically for the library, and it cost $40,000 back in 1929. Plus an extra 40 grand just for that one rug.
Wow.
125,000. So it's basically over $1 million to build that house in current days.
Yeah, just crazy. Here in the dining room, all those things that you're seeing on display there are original. The cups and plates that are on display on the tabletop, those are from Laura's boat, the Valkyrie. If you notice those interesting stone walls that went out into the water over by the visitor center, that's where Laura docked her boat, the Valkyrie, originally. Just past the dining room, you'll see another room with a fan in there. That is the maid's pantry, and that's the little hallway that connects the dining room to the kitchen. So towards the end of our tour, we'll go out and around and see that room from the other side. And we've passed and then we're going to head up here into the entrance hall.
So that came from Sweden, I assume, or someone made this?
Someone made this. Someone hand carved this.
Oh, it's carved over the wall.
She's massive. She's taller than me.
I use a knife and a spoon.
So lots to see here in the entrance hall. But we're going to talk about Selma first because she's very interesting. Now, Selma was a housewarming gift to Laura from her architect Leonard Paul May. He hand carved this gift, and Laura was so grateful. She wanted Selma to be the first thing that the guests would see when they came through that door right back there. That is the front door. We entered the house through the back door, so imagine having Emerald Bay as your backyard in the summertime. That would be a pretty cool way to spend your summers. And if any of us hike down the Vikingshome parking lot trail, that steep 1 mile curvy trail down here, that was Laura's original driveway. That cost an additional $10,000 to have put in place. And imagine, if you will, trying to drive down a steep trail in a vehicle like the one we see in this picture here. That is a 1936 Dodge we're seeing. And those are the types of vehicles people would have driven to come down here and visit Laura.
They're kind of wide.
Yeah. And then we also have a beautiful coat closet with these lovely flowers. That was a birthday present to Laura back in 1935 from her architect, Leonard Paul May, and his wife, which happened to be Laura's niece. Leonard carved the flowers, and his wife painted them, and that was Laura's 75th birthday present. The top, that is a 400-year-old Swedish mailbox we're looking at right there. So guests were highly encouraged to write letters back home when they were visiting Vikingshome. Back in the 20s and 30s, we didn't have cell phones to communicate with our friends, so we had to write letters instead. And so when you were ready to send out your letter, you would just lift up the heart-shaped handle, stick your letter in, and the shoal forward, make sure it got sent off to your friends. In a few moments, we're going to go upstairs and check out some guest bedrooms. Does anyone have any questions before we go up there? Okay, every folks are ready. We're going to head upstairs.
Closet. So this is main entry. Okay, now upstairs. Oh, all the carvings, amazing details. Stained glass. Is that lead in between the pieces?
It is, yeah. So
Unbelievable.
technically they're called leaded stained glass windows.
So cool.
we can come on down this way whenever you're ready.
Room. It's a guest bedroom. You can see Emerald Bay in the back. Is there a closet there, but no?
So there's a closet
Bathroom.
and a bathroom.
And the bathroom, okay.
So this window behind me here goes into the bathroom.
Okay.
So each of these guest closets are just hard to see from this viewpoint. So I'm going to explain a few things really quick, and then we can go check out the rest of the house. These wide doors we see here are linen closets. Laura wanted the bedding to be changed on a daily basis, which is a lot of work for the maids to do. To make their task a little easier, she had these two closets installed. The one on the far side was for the guests, and this one next to me was for the family rooms. We'll see in just a little bit. All of the bedding was color-coded, so that made it a little easier for her staff to do that. This next section of the house is really narrow, so we'll probably have to split up to do it. I'm going to explain ahead of time what you're going to see. You'll see Laura's bedroom. It's a blue room that faces the lake. You'll see a yellow bedroom that belonged to Laura's personal assistant. Her name was Annie. You'll also see a sewing room, a staircase that goes up to the third floor. That was Laura's second bedroom. She had two groups to choose from when staying there at Vikingshome. And then a closed door that belonged to Laura's best friend. Her name was Mrs. Owens. So if you folks want to go check out that section, and then when you're done, if you do want to go check it out, just watch your step on those two stairs, and it does get really narrow.
This has been the personal assistant room.
And the flooring is all pine.
All original, and all the bedding and the rugs are original as well.
These are very interesting
And this
locks.
furniture, is that also Scandinavian style or it's just like American style and things?
This one's a little bit of a mixture of American and Scandinavian style, but more so the hallway is more Scandinavian.
That's the back of the building, right across from Emerald Bay. We have some restoration work after the recent earthquake going. Lots of natural boulders with mortar and details, wood carvings. It has some of the grass roof on top. That's typical for Scandinavia, Iceland. Very interesting chimneys.
I'll explain the different styles of architecture that we're seeing. I'll point out where the different staff members lived, and then I'll open up these two doors behind me so you folks can see the rest of the house. Now again, Laura really likes Scandinavian architecture to try to incorporate as many different styles as she could when she had this house built. The building that we just left was designed to look like an old Viking castle. Side buildings were designed to look like medieval peasant homes. Back in those medieval times, the peasants would have had these grass or sod roofs, and that would have acted as a natural insulator to keep the peasants warm in the winter and cool in the summer. When Laura lived here, she would have had wildflowers growing on these rooftops. And she had her own sprinkler system installed to keep the flowers growing all season long. We still use that same sprinkler system now.
Now they're not green, is it because of the construction?
Yes, we had to turn the water off for the construction project, so that's why the grass is looking not so good right now.
And the same with courtyard too.
And same with the courtyard, you got it. This last building with the crisscross dragon heads at the top, that building was designed to look like an old Viking church. And back in those early days, people believed the more dragons you had carved on your house, the more protection you would have from evil spirits bless you, and the more good luck you would have. Now the top half of that building with the crisscross dragon heads and to the left, that whole section belonged to the caretakers who got to live here year round. On the right hand side of that building with the crisscross dragon heads, there's 2 bedrooms for the cooks. And in this hallway right here, there are 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms for the maids. And I'm just gonna sneak right here. And this is how the maids' rooms would have been set up. So nothing super fancy, but remember this was during the Great Depression era. So just to have a job and have your own living space would have been quite the achievement back in those days. All right, I am gonna open up these doors here. So staff dining room, main kitchen.
Yeah, that's what I want. Yeah. I thought that's how you do it. I know.
There you are.
Yeah.
Everything we see here in the kitchen is original to Laura. The refrigerator is original. The stove, not so much. The stove was put in by the second owner, Harvey West. He bought the house after Laura passed away.
So was one staff member cooking for all the maids, or
2 staff members were cooking for all the guests, plus all of the help for all the staff. So they had a really busy job.
and the owner had a separate cook, or
No, same
Yeah.
same cook.
same cook for everyone? Okay, gotcha.
Hello again.
This is probably
Where'd you get the food from?
Most of the food we could from the start. It also had a telephone and an intercom system and a call bell system. So a special button we could press in the bedroom to get room service, basically.
What is that? Ice chest?
Yeah, it's like an ice chest / freezer. Yeah.
What about what did they use generators? I guess for
The
the.
first 3 years they did use a generator, and that's how Laura got the electricity. During that 3-year time period, she was having power lines built from South Lake Tahoe over here. So by
Gotcha,
the 4th year, she's able to get out of South Lake Tahoe's power grid.
gotcha.
You know what cookbook that is?
I don't. When we arrive here at the beginning of the season, everything's already set up, and it's open on that specific page, and I'm not allowed to touch it.
Okay. Supply. Okay.
Okay.
And halved it, and then kind of burn them a little bit, so they
Yes.
put some like tar-like material
Uh-huh.
on top, and that made it water resistant.
Do you know what's under to prevent a house from leaking, like for any water or snow?
From what I understand, there's some type of like plastic tarp-like material,
Okay.
and some kind of tar material, and then the wood. So we have a couple different layers to help protect the wood underneath.
And probably a similar idea under the grass, right? That you have like kind of flat surface tar and then
Exactly.
Yeah, got it. Very interesting. So 3 type of roofs.
Is there AC in that building or it's like naturally cold?
Oh, sorry, one more time.
AC. Is there air conditioning right now or is it naturally cold?
Oh, is there air conditioning? No, it's naturally cool. With all the stone, it helps keep it cooler. For now, it will get really hot later on in the summer. Alright, so y'all have short answer is the stock market. Laura, her first husband, invested in the stock market, and her first husband passed away suddenly in 1916, but in his will he left Laura $20 million. And so that's where She got the money to build this. When she passed, she did not have any next of kin to leave the house to, so her family back east sold it to a gentleman named Harvey West, who stayed here for a couple of years, and then he in turn sold it to the state, and that's how we're able to have Emerald Bay State Park and do tours. So very grateful for how all those events played out the way that they did. Now we get thousands of people every year to come out and enjoy us and check us out. So very grateful for that. I know that was a lot of information to go over in just 30 minutes time. Do you folks have any questions for me before I let you loose?
How much this? Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what was the age difference between her and her first husband?
Oh, that's a good question. 5 or 10 years?
Okay, because I said like he was a law partner of her father.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And her sister married the two brothers from
Yeah.
They have a book at the
But we don't
visitor
know.
center.
We didn't know exactly. Like, was it 20 years older, 15 years old?
Yeah.
She never had. Did she have any children?
She did have one son with her first husband, and they both died from a heart condition. We're not exactly sure what it was. Medical records aren't what they are today. So it was maybe some kind of heart thing that was inherited. But I don't know.
He was only 25.
Yeah, he's very young. So he passed long before Vikingshome was built.